Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tour review is going to be for some Milwaukee Lineman pliers. These in particular are their made in the USA versions. I've got a couple different made in the USA pliers that I picked up recently. Actually, one of them was the pair of needle nose here, the MT505. A buddy of mine actually picked these up and gave them to me for me to try out. They're still going to be his. He's been wanting to get a pair of my snap-on type pliers because of how much grip you can get with these. I've showed them to him. He really likes them. So he saw these and he saw the teeth on these were kind of that cross hatch type teeth, so he picked these up in order to be able to pull on things versus, you get your standard, most needle nose pliers just have the teeth that are in a straight line like that, so you'll get a little bit more pull with these. But this review is not going to be about these in particular. I just put them out there because I had them. This one's going to be all about these Lineman pliers right here, and the part number on this one is MT500C. You can see that there. These are going to run you somewhere around $55 on HomeDepot.com is where I picked them up. Your store might have them. I had to order them and ship them to my house. And I went ahead and picked these up, even though I've already got the Knipex lineman pliers. I even have two pairs of these. I got the style here with that crimper on it, and then I also had the style without the crimper as well, but they both still have the fish tape pullers. But I ended up selling that regular pair. I put that on Facebook Marketplace, sold it for $40, and put that towards picking these up just so I could try these out, because to me this one's got a really nice feature on it of these bolt cutters to cut your 632 and 832 screws. So in this video I'm just going to talk about that primarily because that's the big difference. This one does have the fish tape puller. One thing that this has over the Knipex as well is a little bit bigger teeth section down in here in this part of the handle. I can't even hardly get that in the light. Maybe you can see it a little bit there. The Milwaukee's got quite a bit bigger size right there if you ever end up using that section to grip onto anything and to turn anything. This one's got that one beat, or the Knipex, a little bit. Also, the Knipex does have that little angle edge on there as far as for reaming out pipe. The Milwaukee has a little bit more pronounced of that as well. So that's the similarities anyways. They've got fish tape pullers, they've got crimpers. The Knipex one's going to cost you about the same price, $57, somewhere around in there. So man, Lineman pliers have gotten expensive, but it doesn't matter. You go look up the Klein ones, Milwaukee, Knipex, any of them. If you go buy a high quality brand, pair of Lineman pliers, it's going to cost you in that $40 to $60 range, no matter how you look at it. So again, I'm just going to show you how this one cuts. Also, I'm going to show you that bolt cutting feature. I'm going to compare that actually to my Knipex Forge wire stripper because this is the best tool that there is in my opinion for cutting these screws, but I thought maybe the leverage that you'll get with Lineman pliers, maybe that might make it a little bit easier. We'll see. I'll show you that in this video as well, and then I'll show you the crimping feature in action also. So let's go ahead and jump down in here a little bit closer. Let me show it to you in action, and then again, you can make the decision if this is the right tool for you. So again, looking at the main features and comparing to me, because this would be the best comparison, would be the Knipex versus the Milwaukee. But if you take a pair of 10-3, so I've got 4 10-gauge wires in here. That's probably about the biggest that you're going to end up being able to cut at one time. I can take the Knipex, put that in there, squeeze. Takes a little bit of my ump to be able to do that. You saw the wire shoot over there. We'll cut that. If I go with the Milwaukee, open those up as well, squeeze. Still takes probably about the same amount of ump, but you can tell by the way that shot off, it actually cut it a little bit better because it took so much pressure to shoot that out there with the Knipex. But in my opinion, the difference is very small. I would say they cut pretty much identical. Where you're going to get into with the crimping function of this one, again, I'm not going to compare it to that because it's pretty much the same. We've got some 12-gauge stranded wire here. I've also got a connector. We'll slide that wire up in there. I'm going to slide it through, line up my crimper, give it a squeeze. Looks to me like it did fairly decent as far as grabbing a hold of that and pulling it off. Let's see if I can. I'm yanking on it about as hard as I can, so it seems like it does a pretty decent job on crimping, which these Knipex ones do as well. With the Lineman pliers, you're able to get quite a bit of oomph on it as far as to crimp down those type of crimp connections. So crimper works well on that, but the question is going to be the bolt cutters, because this is something that the Milwaukee has that the Knipex does not as far as the Lineman pliers. So how well will it cut? I've got a 632 here. We're going to get that lined up, and in order to use this, you've got to line up your holes. Maybe you can see through there now. So you got to open it up to the right position and get that started. I'm going to make sure it starts, and then to speed this up a little bit after I get it in the hole. I'm not there yet. Now we're lined up. I'm going to go ahead and screw it through. See how much force it takes to cut it. Very easy, doesn't take a lot of effort. How clean was it? We'll see. So we're going to back this out. And you can see there, not too bad. Doesn't look too bad. The cut seems pretty clean on this side. Cut's not too bad on that side. I might have a little bit of a little edge sticking up right there. So cut's extremely easy. It's not too bad. To me, the biggest thing is just lining up those holes and making that be right, because for the most part on these Knipex ones here, whenever you've got them spread open with the spring on these particular pliers, the forged wire strippers, the holes are pretty much already exactly where they want to be. And just how you saw how I had to thread that in there, again, you've got to make sure you put it in the right side. If I was to put it through this side and cut it, I'd have a mess and have to get those threads out. But you have to thread it. You have to spend the time to do that. Versus the Knipex right here. So if I take a 632, same thing, put it in the 632 hole, I don't have to thread it. It just slides in and out. How well does it cut? If we take squeeze, just as easy, and also just as clean, if not a little bit cleaner. So do the forged wire strippers, in my opinion. Cut the screws better, yes. Is it easier as far as the amount of pressure? Because that's one thing I was interested to see was the pressure I was going to have to put, the force I was going to have to put on this going to be more or less than these, since it's a little bit bigger pair of pliers. And to me, it felt pretty much exactly the same on the pressure. So I don't have to spend the time to thread it into the Knipex versus I do on these. And then also it's a little bit harder, in my opinion, to line this up as well to get that going than what it is on the Knipex. But again, overall, I think they're a really good pair of pliers. If you've got a pair of Linemans, and the regular ones without the bolt cutters are going to cost you, I think it was $45 or something like that, $50, I'm not real sure. So it's just a few bucks more, and then that way if you have these on you and you need to cut a screw and maybe you don't have your other pair of strippers on you, or whatever it might be, this might be the extra set that it doesn't take up any more room to have it. It's just an extra function. If it's something you run into pretty often, it might be something you want to look into. So yeah, guys, that's the Milwaukee made in the USA 9-inch Lineman pliers with the bolt cutting feature. Also the Crimper, part number on that MT500C. Maybe it's something you've been looking for. It feels like a hefty set of Linemans. I feel like it would last you for quite some time. I think they're one of those pair of pliers that you could use for extreme long period of time and probably not have any problems with it. Something that you can also get probably locally, maybe in your Home Depot. So maybe that's the thing that kind of nudges you in that direction as well. But again, I just got them to try them out. I wanted to see how well they work. This is the first made in the USA pliers of Milwaukee that I picked up. That's another thing. I was wanting to try them out and see how well I like them. So I figured I'm going to give it a go for a little while, see what I think about it. But maybe you've got a pair of these already. Drop that in the comments below, what your experience has been with them, or let me know what you think about them just all together from this video. But hope this video was useful, helpful. You guys stay safe. Have a blessed day. See you on the next video.